Hi, everybody. I'm Kevin Davis Insurance Marketing Manager, Sherry Branson. I'd like to welcome you to a very special webinar today, the Mindfulness webinar, how to stay stress-free during the holiday season. We can all use a little bit less stress in our lives, especially over what's happened the past couple of years. And today we're going to give you some great tools to help you deal with stress at work and in private, in your personal life, etc. And presenting today is the founder of Kevin Davis Insurance, Mr. Kevin Davis. Hey, Kevin.
Hey, Sherry. Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing great, doing great. How are you doing? Here we are, Kevin, the end of 2021. I can't believe it.
I know. Another year and another COVID year too.
Yeah,
We ended last year the same thing doing this year. Yes.
We were talking about it last year, saying, "Oh, it's probably about over now, and we're going to be turning over a new leaf next year." And yeah, it's just unbelievable. Let's hope that this year is actually the final big year for it.
Well, yes. I hope so
Yes.
too. So, yeah.
And Kevin, I know you are a mindfulness facilitator, correct? Can you share with everybody? I know you trained at UCLA, so you've been doing mindfulness techniques for quite a while.
Yes, and I've been doing this is my favorite time of the year. Every year since about past 5 or 6 years, I've been doing mindfulness tools just to kind of feel better about things, feel better about life. And last year came out really, really well. And this year, I hope the same thing. There's a lot of stress we're going through, a lot of uncertainty out there. And I found using mindfulness is a way of really helping me out. So I've been trained mindfulness. I've been doing mindfulness for about 10 years now. Been a mindfulness facilitator about 5 years now. So again, it's the time of year I look forward to doing this and sharing some of the mindfulness tools out there.
Absolutely. It's a perfect timing for this. And I have a little bit of a quick joke to share with you that I heard from a friend. She went shopping for a bottle of wine for a Christmas dinner, and the person selling her the wine said, "Oh, I have a great holiday Merlot. It pairs really well with beef, lamb, and difficult relatives."
Yeah.
And you know what? Holiday joke.
And we've had a lot of difficult relatives started 2 weeks ago, and now we expect a lot more in the next 2 weeks. So, well, thanks a lot, Sherry. Listen, stay stress-free yourself, and we'll see you at the end of the webinar.
Great. Thank you, Kevin. Have a great webinar.
Okay. So let's start by going over our program highlights here. It's this is that time of year, and it's really, really just it's stressful. So what we're going to talk about is, first of all, what is mindfulness? Okay, what is it? Then we'll talk about why we're stressed, and then we'll talk about mindfulness tools to help you to enjoy the holidays. So let's start with mindfulness. What is mindfulness? And this is really, really an important thing. Mindfulness is paying attention to your present moment experiences with openness and curiosity and the willingness to be with what is. Now, what does that mean? It means that the only time you can make a difference, the only time things matter is when you're in the present moment. What I mean by that, if you get into your car and you go to work and you're listening to music and you're in, autopilot, and all of a sudden you're not paying attention, and all of a sudden something happens to make you pay attention. Either a truck will come by you, or you need to switch lanes or go from one highway to another highway like we do in LA a lot. You also need to slow down, you get focused and you become aware. And once you become aware, you have options. You have creativity, you have an imagination. Things happen when you pay attention. And that's when openness and curiosity comes into play when you're paying attention. Because if you look at our brains are designed to do one thing. It solves problems. That's what it does. So if you are doing a project, if you're working right now, if you are waiting for your insurance binder to come in, or you're waiting for your insurance quote to come in, and all of a sudden you got it, you're happy, now all of a sudden getting close to the end of the day, you take a step back and relax for a second. But only for a quick second, because what happens is your brain is looking for something to do. Now, what happens is that it usually either A, goes into the past to find something you didn't do right and wants to fix it. Like maybe you should send the binder out December 1st, hasn't gotten out yet. Or maybe you didn't get your Christmas presents done yet. Or maybe you didn't do all your holiday things you need to do. And so your mind starts to worry about these things. And when it causes worrying, it creates depression. So when your brain is not focused in this present moment, it is going back to something that happened in your past and wants to solve a past problem. Or what it does, it goes into the future, it creates anxiety. When you say, oh, I'm worried because I haven't done my holiday shopping yet, or I'm worried about, who's coming by and if my parents going to come by or my kids going to come by, that creates anxiety. And what happens is that when you spend all that time doing those things, you're not really in that present moment. And when you're not in that present moment, you can't make good decisions. Excuse me. Example for me has always have been when I go shopping for food. When I go shopping for food, if I'm in the present moment, I get exactly what I want and I leave the store. If I'm worried about things at work, worried about things at home, I look in my cart there and find a bunch of stuff I never thought I would buy, and you get it. That is what mindfulness is. It's that ability to be present, to make better decisions, to react to life, but to take a step back and just be more reflective in terms of what's happening out there. When you're more reflective, things happen better. There's curiosity out there. There is lack of judgment. So when you say the willingness to be with what is, that means you're not judging everything that occurs. So, and when you do that, what happens is you're less stressful. Life is less stressful when you're in the present moment, because again, you're not filtering out those two things, either depression or anxiety on the right or the left. So that's why stress is there for us, because the stress is there because we are worried, we're concerned, we have anxiety, we have all these things that happen to us all the time. Stress is one thing that we all are anxious, we're nervous, we don't like uncertainty. Now, the reason why stress exists for us is because there's a problem with our reality. So if you look at one side, there's reality, our current reality. If we are okay with our current reality, or are we okay with things willing to be what is, then guess what happens? All right, everything's okay. We don't have stress. Meaning this, if right now I'm starting this webinar and I get thirsty, guess what I have? I got my glass of water over here. I'm in tune with my reality, no stress. But what happens is now all of a sudden I'm thirsty, I'm in the middle of my webinar, and guess what? I don't have any water. So what happens is there is resistance to the reality. The more resistance you have to the reality, the more stress you have. That's how this works. Again, stress comes from reality. My reality is I'm thirsty, drinking water. Guess what? No stress, I'm good. Now there's no water there, there's resistance to reality, there's stress. So stress comes from resistance to reality. If right now you have to worry about, or you're concerned about holiday presents, holiday shopping, holiday dinner, who's coming by, who's not coming by, getting work done, okay? The more resistance you have to that reality, the more stress you are under. If your Christmas shopping is done, if you know what you're gonna do for the holiday, if you know who you invited, who's gonna come or not, guess what? You are in line with your current reality. And that's how this works. As long as you're in line with your current reality, as long as you're willing to accept what is, guess what happens? Stress is reduced. Stress is reduced by far for this reason. Now, stress causes pain. Stress causes a lot of pain. And what happens to stress that really makes it a lot difficult for us, that when we do stress, have stress, when stress occurs, it leads to suffering, okay? That's what, when we experiencing painful situations, and again, what our bodies do, when we get stressed out, okay, it creates pain in our bodies. It creates pain. We start to feel it in our bodies that we're stressed, and it creates suffering. The mindfulness, what it does is that when you're saying you're willing to accept what is, it reduces some of the stress, which reduces some of the suffering. What we want to do as human beings, what we want to do is to eliminate as much suffering we can from our lives. Pain is real. Pain happens all the time. You can't do anything about the pain that we feel. If I break my leg, if I twist my ankle, if I have shoulder injuries, all those things are real. The problem is that suffering is something that we have a choice. See, no matter what we do, we have to experience pain throughout our lives, but we choose to suffer from the pain. So we choose to suffer from the stress that we're under. So when we talk about the stress, okay, we talk about the pain, we talk about those things that happen to us. The after effect is that we have to suffer. So perfect example I always use is that if I sprain an ankle today in my 60s, okay, I'm going to start suffering. I'm going to yell, I'm going to scream, I'm going to ask my wife, I need some help. But if an athlete sprains his ankle, he doesn't suffer. He wraps it up, he throws him back out there, and he plays basketball, football, whatever he wants to play. Because he understands that suffering is something he has an option not to do. And that's one of the key things we understand, that suffering is an option that we can say no to. And it's really, really important, because that's an important part of stress. Suffering is the thing that happens, that we go through all day long, because of stress, we suffer, and suffering is an option, okay? It's difficult for some people to understand, but again, an athlete who sprains his ankle, wraps it up, and he continues to play. The pain is there. He understands the pain, but he chooses not to suffer. If I break my ankle, if I strain my ankle, I know I'm going to suffer. However, because of mindfulness, though, okay, again, we're going to talk more about how mindfulness works. I realize that at a certain point in time, okay, the pain, it hurts, but now I'm just adding suffering to the pain, And that's what we do. We add suffering to the pain, which creates some of our problems that we have. Stress is real, pain is real, but when we add suffering to it, it creates a whole different problem. So the question is, how do we end suffering? How do we end the suffering? And that is the big question. And that's part of what mindfulness is all about. This is a mindfulness class webinar. So we end the suffering with mindfulness. But I always like to use the term, and this is what I do, is you drop the banana. That's what you do. You drop the banana. What I mean by dropping the banana. In India, they have a problem with monkeys. Monkeys all over the place. So they do set a trap up there. And a trap is like a cage. Inside a cage, there's bananas in there. There's enough room for a monkey to put their hands in there, grab a banana. Okay. The problem though is that once he grabs hold of the banana, he can't let go. He can't pull the banana out. And then he starts yelling and screaming because he can't let it out. Then his other monkey friends come there and stick their hand in there. And guess what? Now all of a sudden they captured a lot of monkeys. And now all the monkey has to do is drop the banana. That's it. And then he is free. So how do we end suffering? My mind is I drop the banana. Is that there's certain things I have to do is to accept what's happening to me, allow it to be there. And again, we'll talk a little bit more about that when we talk about mindfulness. And then I just let it go. The key is to do it that way. Allow it, accept it, let it go. And that's how we end suffering. Again, it took me years to understand this through mindfulness, but it is an option to do it. Here's the way to do it. So let's talk about mindfulness, how this thing really truly works, okay? Because again, the key for mindfulness is to be in this present moment so we understand, so we're not reacting to things. So when we're not reacting to things, then we don't have to judge things. We don't have judgment issues. They are what they are. So when we talk about mindfulness, there's two aspects of mindfulness. There is a formal meditation practice, which we're going to do in a few minutes. And there's an informal mindfulness awareness practice. The formal mindfulness meditation is just meditation. It's meditating. When you meditate, you quiet your mind. You don't empty your mind, you quiet your mind and you relax the body. When you quiet the mind, relax your body, then you have the ability to make better decisions. Informal practice is what we're talking about when you make a decision, when you are become aware, we're in the present moment, and you choose not to react. When you make a choice not to react, you choose to do things and your willingness to accept things without judgment. So if you're in a line and you're in a line, in a checkout line, and you have groceries, you have 5 groceries, and think person in front of you got 20 groceries, what you do is your willingness to accept things as they are, and that's it. Now, you get angry, you get upset. Those things are all part of it, but you can learn to control those things. You learn not to react. The key thing is that when you don't react, you can make better decisions. Okay, and that's the key thing with informal mindfulness practice. And again, the formal mindfulness practice, meditation, we're gonna be doing that just in a few minutes, and we're gonna talk about how that thing works. But when I talk about a mindfulness tool, okay, the best tool out there when we talk about informal and formal practices is stop. Stop is the tool that I use all the time. Now, stop is that when you're in a situation and there is a negative reaction to something, either again, somebody's in line, they shouldn't be in line, there's an agent calling me up, there's some issue out there that's really, really problematic right now. What you do is you use this format, which is called stop. First thing you do is you just stop. Stop. Don't do anything to stop. Take a breath. Just take a breath. Observe. Observe what's going on around you. And then you proceed. The goal of stop is to stop you from reacting, okay? Because what happens is our mind is there to solve problems. And the number one problem it has to solve is keeping us from being harmed. That's the number one problem. In other words, our brain solves problems for one thing, to keep us safe. That's our brains, that's the job of the brain, is keep us safe. So if we are having a situation, if we're uncomfortable, if we're angry, if we're upset about something, our mind is saying, uh-oh, you have to do something about it. And usually the fight or flight mechanism. You're either gonna have to run or you're gonna have to fight. And what happens is by using stop, you're not reacting to it. You're still gonna have to make a decision what you're gonna do, but you're not reacting to the decision. That stop stops you from just using your instincts and doing something as opposed to just taking your time out, just relax a little bit, and to really make sure you understand what you're gonna be doing. So what we're going to do, okay, we're gonna do a mindfulness meditation, and we're gonna use stop, okay? It's gonna do, if you never have done a meditation before, okay, it is a pretty simple thing, okay? It's based on one idea, and that's a focus on something that doesn't matter, something that's neutral. So you can't focus in on something that you have an opinion about, you know? If I say focus on this glass of water, 'cause I'm thirsty, all of a sudden I have to decide that, wait a minute, the water's too cold, water's not cold enough, I started having judgment. So what we do is focus on something neutral like the breath. So when you're breathing in and breathing out, guess what happens, okay? There's no judgment, there's no one breath not better than the next breath. It is all the same breath. So you focus your energy on it. As you focus your energy on the breath, guess what happens? Your mind starts to calm. Now, a lot of us have really active minds, very active. They can't calm down or anything like that. What mindfulness does, it calms the brain down. It slows it down. So you're not using all this energy to run your brain. Your brain takes a lot of energy to run anyway. That's why you have autopilot. That's why you have certain habits out there. It doesn't want to use all this energy. So what your brain does, you know, and what you need your brain to do is just to kind of calm it down every once in a while, so it's not reacting to everything. So it's not constantly spinning all the time. And what mindful does is calms the brain, relax your nervous system, and all of a sudden it puts you in a position, you know, we can make better decisions. Now, what happens is when you are meditating, you cannot empty your brain. You cannot stop thinking. your mind will wander. And like a pendulum, it wanders. Once you reach a point where you go, uh-oh, my mind's wandering, and you bring it back to the breath, guess what happens? Yeah. You're now being mindful. And you're using mindfulness meditation, and that's what it is. There's meditation, mindfulness meditation is like saying basketball to sports. It's a form of meditation. Mindfulness is a form of meditation, just like basketball is to sports. So I'm gonna set my timer here just to do a 5-minute meditation for people who never had one before, because it can be, we're gonna start this. And when we talk about a mindfulness position, okay, mindfulness position is sitting up straight. And it's like if a string was tied up your head and you just pulled it. And that's the kind of mindfulness position, okay? And then you kind of close your eyes, or if you don't feel comfortable closing your eyes, you can just kind of just look downward a little bit. You don't have to close your eyes. And we do start with a inhale and exhale. Inhale and an exhale. And then we start breathing normally. That's all. Just a normal breathing in and out. You'll notice how your shoulders rise as you breathe in and lower as you breathe out. You'll notice how the cool air is coming through your nose and warm air is going out. You'll notice the sounds around you. You're not going to make an opinion about the sounds. Maybe a heat just coming on, or for us it's raining outside. Just pay attention to the sounds. No judgment, no opinion. And now what we're going to do is use stop. So first of all, we're going to use the S and just stop what we're doing and just breathe. That's all. Just inhale and exhale. No judgment, just breathe. And T, we'll take a deep breath now. Now we're going to observe our body. What's happening right now in our body? We'll start from our forehead. We're going to feel our forehead. We're going to just soften our forehead. We're going to relax our forehead. Soften our eyes. Soften our jaw. A lot of tension in the jaw. We have to soften it, relax the jaw. Relax the tongue. We're going to relax and soften the entire face, all the facial muscles. Now we're going to move down to the neck muscles, into the shoulder. Just relax the shoulders. Relax all the muscles in your neck. And I'm going to notice the hands, where our hands are right now. Just notice where they're at. Is one cupping the other? Are they touching your clothes? Just notice where the hands are at. Now we're going to notice what's happening in our chest area. We're going to observe our chest. Is there any sensations in there? Anything we need to be worried about? Is there anything warm? Any vibration? If there is, we're just going to notice it. Observe it right now. Is observing our body. Then we're going to feel our legs. We're going to feel how our seat and our back is against the legs, against the seat of the chair, and our back against the back of the chair. And we're going to notice our feet touching the ground. When we notice our feet touching the ground, that brings us in that situation. So now what we're going to do is bring to mind a situation that may be at work or trying to find your holiday presents where everything's sold out. Trying to figure out who you want to invite. Just bring this situation to mind and just feel right now, how's it feel inside of our body? What sensations are we feeling because of that? All of a sudden, we might be feeling a little stressed because we're not ready yet. So we're going to just take a minute and stop. And I want you to take a minute and just stop yourself. That situation's in front of you that challenge you. So just stop. Take a breath. Observe how you feel, just like we just did. Then proceed. Proceed may mean not doing anything at all. But then proceed. And the one thing we do with mindfulness is that when we proceed with kindness. You don't proceed with anger. You don't proceed with sadness. You proceed with acts of kindness. There's a lot of ways you can act of kindness just by saying things that may you be well, may you be safe. And remember, your mind will wander. And as it wanders, just bring it back to what's happening at the moment and be willing to accept the moment. Anytime you lose the concentration, just bring it back by touching your feet, noticing the sounds, and it brings you back to this present moment. Okay, all right, that is it. That was mindfulness meditation. So if you like it, if you want to know more about it, there are mindfulness apps available, mobile apps available. UCLA has a great mindfulness section. UCLA Mindful is a good app. Calm, just try it. I usually have something called 5 minutes at 5 p.m. So every day, for the next several weeks, until the end of the holiday, maybe until January, at 5 o'clock, every day, do 5 minutes of meditation. So Sherry, welcome back.
Oh, thank you, Kevin. Thank you. I'm very relaxed. Yeah, I felt like I took a nap. It was great.
You know what? Okay, I'll be honest with you. This is the funniest part about mindfulness to me. Every day I come home from work, right, and tell my wife I meditate for 20 minutes. Well, an hour and a half later, she wakes me up. So, hey.
It was a great meditation, right? I just
Yeah.
closed my eyes because I had to really get into it.
Yes. So don't feel bad. Don't feel bad that that happens, because it really is. We all, everybody's sleep deprived. We all sleep
Mhm.
deprived. So when you realize that we have a moment of calm, a calm like that, the first thing you're gonna do is fall asleep. So it's not unusual. It happens a lot, and so that's
Yeah, and it means that you need it. It means you need that quiet, peaceful, not frazzled time, which this time
yeah,
of year everybody is pretty
yeah.
much.
And that's what this is, the pause button. I call it a pause button. Where you pause through the day and just take care of yourself and to quiet the mind. Because again, everybody's mind, especially this time of year, it is going 100 miles an hour.
Exactly, in a million directions. And just
Yeah.
to quiet the mind down and stop it all is just
Mhm.
so refreshing, very
Yes.
refreshing. And it's like a reset. Like you reboot your computer, you're rebooting yourself, basically.
Exactly. And it's
Mhm,
so important and so critical. So
mhm.
listen, I hope everybody enjoyed it. Let's kind of wish everybody a happy holiday. This is what, end of another year, probably what, about 10 years of doing these webinars.
That's right. 10 years. I can't believe it, Kevin. We did a lot of great webinars in 2021. And, I just want to mention that we put them on our website, which is kdasonline.com. You can listen to today's webinar again and all of our past webinars from 2021. We had a great year, Kevin, and we're going to be
Yes.
doing many more in 2022.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to 2022. We have some good ideas. We'll be doing some new and some exciting things, going different directions. But I'm looking forward to. So again, Eric, listen, everybody have a really happy holiday. I wish all our webinar people and our clients out there to have a really happy holiday.
Yes, yes. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We really appreciate you joining us today and throughout all the other webinars of 2021 and the past years. And I'd like to wish you a safe and happy holidays from everybody at Kevin Davis Insurance, as Kevin just said. And happy holidays and happy New Year. We'll see you in
Yeah.
2022.
And we'll see you in 2022. Thanks a lot. Thanks,
Thank,
everybody.
thank you.
Okay.
Take care.
Take care.